back. You're listening to GFM at 96.6, and as promised, we are now straight into our interview with Adam Fotherington. Adam, welcome to the studio. Welcome to GFM.
Thank you very much for having me.
First time?
First time.
Oh, well, we hope you come back. Hope there's another event for you to come back and tell us all about. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Barton and Tredworth Reminisce Day?
I will. We're calling it the Barton and Tredworth Memory Fair because it's a little bit more catchy. And basically what it's about is it's being sort of run by the Hidden Lives Project, which is an oral history project all about collecting and recording stories from people who live in the communities of Barton and Tredworth. So we're basically opening up the Picturedrome Theatre for the day. We're inviting people who either live or work in the local area or have lived and worked in the local area to come along, tell us their stories, but also to hear some of the stories of notable local people or local organisations. So there's going to be a real mixture of coming and telling us stuff, which we will have the facility to record or take pictures. And in fact, we want people to bring their photos as well, because we can upload them onto our website. So that actually that is going to be our kind of window on the rest of the world.
So are you trying to get a picture of what, possibly of what the Barton and Tredworth area was like in the past to what it is now, looking at the way it's grown and it's changed?
Very much so. I mean, it's had an incredible history, you know. 100 years ago, it was quite a kind of down-at-heel working class area. And it's really changed an awful lot. Even in the last 10 years, you know, the local demographic has changed hugely. And so we want to kind of capture some of those changes and also find out, you know, people's stories who live in this area. It's an extraordinarily diverse part of Britain, actually, let alone Gloucestershire, and it's really important to capture the stories of people as they kind of arrive here, move through, have been here for, you know, donkey's years, and just get some of that richness.
So could you tell us a little bit more about the Hidden Lives Project?
Yeah, sure. The Hidden Lives Project is basically, originally it was my idea. I actually came to work at the Picturedrome Theatre. And as I was walking down Barton Street on my way to the theatre for the first time, never having been down Barton Street before, I just really looked at the richness of that community and started to think, what are the stories of all of these people? I could hear so many different languages. There was a Polish shop, and then there was a black hairdresser, and then there would be, you know, an amazing diversity and amazing range. And that was what sparked it, really, was my own curiosity. And so I work for the Gloucester Theatre Company, who are based at the Picturedrome, and we're working in partnership with the university and with Gloucestershire Archives in kind of coming up with this idea and making this project happen. It's all funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund.
How many people are you hoping to get? Do you have any idea in terms of numbers?
Well, we're hoping to, by the end of really the project, although we've got a time limit of a year, so we're kind of going to be going for the next 12 months. The project has got no time limit, so the website that we create and the facility for people to record their stories is going to be there forever. So there is no limit to the number of stories that we want to hear. But in the short term, we're looking at sort of collecting between 30 and 60 people's stories on audio over the next 12 months.
So in terms of people's stories, what are you looking for? Could it possibly be people that came from different countries, their experiences on arriving into Gloucester, or their experiences whilst living here, that type of thing?
We're looking for everything and anything, you know, from stories about arriving in this particular part of the world to stories of having lived here, you know, maybe for a lifetime and seen all of the changes and remembering back to the days, you know, when the railway ran down sort of Barton Street, and and just all of the stories from the different people that live in the community.
And this will all be put into a website, did you say, or?
What we're hoping to do, in fact, we're launching the website on the 18th.
Okay.
We've actually started building it, so it's kind of a fledgling thing, and it will just grow, hopefully. We're creating this. It's a community website, so it's there for people to use, and it's for people to actually tell their story. And whatever story that might be, it might be something very small, it might be something more significant, it might be a story that takes, 15 seconds, it might be a story that takes several minutes to tell. And there's also the opportunity for people to make what are called digital stories, which is kind of like a small film. So we hear their voice, but we also see footage from their lives, photographs, objects, and it's another way of telling a story.
So we can all see what an outsider would get from seeing this project all up in action all together. But what would an individual get? What would you say to an individual, Why would you encourage them to be a part of this?
That is a brilliant, brilliant question. And the answer to that is really that once you start telling your story and you find that people are interested in listening, it really, really validates you and who you are. And we live in a culture that is so sort of, we think we're not important. We think that our lives are very dull and ordinary and that they're not actually important, but they are, because our lives are what make up history and our experiences. And we really want to empower people to see that their story is unique. I'm sure that if I asked any of you three to tell something about your past, you'd be able to find something that was completely unique to you, and that we would all be interested in listening to it. That's the other thing. So it's about sharing. It's about actually sharing your story and having people be interested in it.
That's a very good point. And on that note, Chris has emailed into the studio to welcome you, Andy. And he says, this all sounds really interesting historically, but also helping promote community cohesion, celebrate diversity, and recognise people and communities who have contributed so much to the area. And that's a really valid point, because like you said, bringing different people together from different cultures who may not necessarily interact on a daily basis, that is another arm of what this project could lead to.
Absolutely. The common theme for the whole project is this geographical area. Okay, so it's a fixed geographical area. But what is most interesting about this community is the fact that it's a very, there's been a lot of movement in and out of the community, and people have come from very far away and often very, very different circumstances, cultures, experiences. And and this is an opportunity for people who actually live very close to each other to find out about things that relate to the world at large, a much, much bigger world. And I've already, in just talking to the people that I've talked to so far, have been stunned and amazed by the diversity of experience.
Could you give us any examples then of a story you've had without naming the individual, or, is there anything that sticks in your mind?
Well, I've the very first interview that I did was with an African Caribbean lady who's in her 70s, and she came here when she was 21. She moved to Gloucester on her own, which was extraordinary, and met her husband and started a family and worked. Now, what struck me most strongly about her story was the amount of personal sacrifice that she'd made just to bring up her family. She had a full-time job. She had 5 children at home. She used to come home in her coffee break to put the dinner on, so that they would be fed, because her husband was working too. And incredible stories about very practical ways of just, which we, nowadays we're so used to a comfortable lifestyle. It really kind of, it was very humbling.
It sounds as though it would almost be nice to have generations come into this, you know, to turn up at the Picturedrome on Saturday the 18th and, you know, to have, say, the grandmother's perspective and then the mother's perspective and then the grandchild, just to actually see how it goes down the generations and how things have altered. And like you said in that example there, how sacrifices change almost, how perhaps, you know, maybe we're more privileged now and we wouldn't have to, you know, because of daycare or because of extended families necessarily have to sit at home and, you know, and make those types of sacrifices.
I think that's the other thing, you know, this project is about intergenerational sharing. So, you know, we're not just interested in older people. Older people have richer stories because they've had more life experience. However, younger people's perspectives are interesting because they are evolving and because they're very much coming out of what those young people have met in their lives. So we really are interested in that. We're also interested in older people and younger people actually working together. The bit of the project that I'm doing is actually, I'm going to take some of the stories that we collect. I'm going to work with a company of young actors between the age of 16 and 25, and we're going to turn those stories into a piece of theatre. By talking to the older people, by getting them to come in as experts and sort of tell us a bit more about the background to the stories. And then we're going to perform this to them, so they will be the audience and they'll see their lives recreated, reinterpreted as a piece of theatre.
So you said there, not only is this project never ending in the sense that once it goes live, effectively, it will be there for the local community to access as and when they like, and also I'm sure the wider community and people beyond that. But it's now going to be turned into a production that people can actually watch their own lives back. That's right. And a production that will be seen locally, but we're also going to take it out into the wider county. It's going to tour around the whole of the county, around primary schools principally. But the idea is to educate, you know, the people out there living in the Shire a bit more about this vibrant inner city community, which a lot of people don't know about. So one of our jobs is to basically take the stories out and share them. And I think, without meaning to court controversy, but I sometimes feel as though, you know, it's sometimes felt that Barton and Tredworth area can get, you know, necessarily a bad or an unfortunate reputation. So it would be nice, like you said, to take it to the wider county as a whole and to show them this is what it is. And it's also a very good model, like you said, because that you do walk down Barton Street and you see people from diverse communities and different backgrounds. So it is a very nice way to say, you know, these people can live side by side and get on quite happily, you know, so it's a positive message to take out there. It's a very positive message. And you know, the other thing about this is the bit of the project that I really feel very strongly about. As soon as you know somebody's story, okay, they stop being a stranger, and it becomes impossible for you to impose your prejudices and your preconceived ideas on them because you know something specific about them. And what we do, of course, is we let all of our prejudices and our assumptions be the thing that out of which we relate with other people. So this is about breaking down some of that stuff and us starting to relate to each other not as our prejudices, but as the real human beings who've actually lived all of this stuff. So that's the kind of, if you like, that's the social heart behind this project. So as we said, it will be taking place on Saturday the 18th of June from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Picturedrome Theatre. What should people bring along? Apart from themselves and their stories, you said about photographs, is there anything else people can bring along? People can bring along anything. It might be a passport, it might be a ticket, it might be something that relates to something that happened to them many, many years ago. They should just bring anything along that they're happy for us to talk about. And if they're prepared for us to do it, we'd actually like to scan some of this material and actually upload it onto the website so that other people can see it and other people can share in it. If people want to come with stories, we're very happy to record them there and then, or
If they want to do it more privately and with perhaps a bit more sort of preparation, we're happy to come to people's homes and actually have an interview in the home. We're very friendly, we're very warm, and we're very discreet. We don't do anything. We don't publish anything or put anything up on the website without people's permission. So that's the other thing to do, is to reassure people that we're not going to make free and easy with their stories or with their belongings. But also, if people want to come and find out more about the project, that we will be there with demonstrations of digital storytelling, with exhibition of old photographs of the area, and also the other thing is we've got the Friendship Cafe, the story of the Friendship Cafe. We've got the story of Our Untold Stories, which was a previous oral history collection. We've got hopefully the City Farm coming to tell their story. So there's lots of interesting local stories being told on the day.
So that's a good point you've just made there. It's not necessary. You don't even necessarily have to tell an individual story. If you're from an organisation, you can tell the organisation story, so long as everybody's happy with that. That's fine for you to do.
That's absolutely right. And you don't even have to tell a story. You can just come and listen and just actually see if you're interested in the area and you're interested in the stories of people. Just come along and listen and be part of it that way. There are also opportunities for people to volunteer. So this project is really going to be run by volunteers. And so there are opportunities for, if you're interested in interviewing people, we're looking for volunteers in that, or editing audio recordings or uploading things onto the website. Do come and let us know.
Could you tell us a bit? Well, you said there people can volunteer, so can we put out some contact details then, Adam? Would you be happy to give those out so people can take a note if they want to get involved?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the easiest thing for people to do at the moment, until the website is launched on the 18th, is to contact us via our Facebook page. So that is www.facebook.com/Hidden Lives.
And is that just a like page, or is that people can just go on and like it and leave their comments?
People can leave their comments. People can leave that. We regularly check it, and if anybody wants to, get in touch with us, that would be the way to do it. The other thing is that we have a Gmail account, and I believe it is bartonandtredworth@gmail.com.
And with the "and" for the Barton and, is it the symbol for "and", or is it fully spelt word?
It is fully spelt word. It's no gaps.
Okay then, so that's bartonandtredworth@gmail.com. So I'll make a note of that, or I'll get one of my guys here in the studio. Oh, here we go. I've just had a comment come in before we go. This is a good question. Will GFM be there to tell its story? Well, anybody? You two? What have you got to say? Will GFM be there to tell its story?
I've only been here a couple of months.
Georgia will tell a story. Robin, GFM will be there to tell its story?
Yeah, I imagine we could send someone along.
I think we will, yeah. I think
we could all come along one day, tell our own stories about GFM.
Well, there you go. That's a good point, actually. Even the presenters could come along and tell their story of how they got involved in GFM. There you go.
We'd love to have you.
There you go. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, guys. Did you have any questions before we go?
Okay, can I say something, though?
Yes, of course you can. Go ahead, Georgia.
Yeah, this idea is kind of really good because it's kind of like a virtual museum in a way, and it makes that like your neighbours, you don't usually know who they are, and you in this kind of modern age, you don't know who your neighbours are, but now you'll be able to be like, oh, I saw your story on the website. That was really interesting. So I reckon it's a really good idea.
That's a really good point, Georgia. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's sort of adding on to it. It does sound amazing.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, everyone in this world got that sort of one little story. It couldn't be written. It's so amazing. And this idea sort of collecting them all together, even in this small area, there's probably thousands of these stories.
There you go. So everybody out there, everybody listening, all of the listeners, if you've got a story to tell, make sure you get down to the Memory Fair event taking place at the Picturedrome on Saturday the 18th of June 2011 from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Take any little items you've got, be it, like Adam said, be it a passport. You might have a ticket for a show you saw at the cinema back when the old cinemas were in place, or a ticket from the old railway line, or maybe a teddy bear or something you brought over when you came from a different country. Anything at all. get your, this show will be repeated again tomorrow, so you can listen back in case you missed any of the details. We will be promoting it in our What's On. So I suggest everybody get along, and hopefully GFM will also be there to tell its story. We will, get there and we will say how far we've come and how we're still here and we're still going. So thank you very much, Adam, for coming in today. And thank you guys for your questions.